As they say, if there is history in stones, it's Hampi. For ages, the temples and the structures, an epitome of beauty and grace, have been attracting visitors from all corners of the globe. The vast expanse of the magnanimous structures, intricately carved walls, aesthetically designed monuments and religious temples are the hallmarks of this historically vital treasure called Hampi. Hampi is located at 350 kilometers north of Bangalore, the capital of Karnataka state. Hospet is the nearest railway station for Hampi. The site of Hampi civilization is not only a temple complex but a living entity where rocks speak. The temples and columns speak of architectural grandeur and excellent craftsmanship. A visit to the site invokes many kinds of feelings. And here you can understand how people lived and believed. It is being said that the unexcavated site could cover more than 100 kilometers. Dating back to the 14th century, Hampi was the capital of the Hindu Empire, Vijayanagar. The trend continued till 16th century. Known as the vast open museum of history, architecture and religion, Hampi has witnessed many phases in its rich history. As the greatest and largest Hindu kingdom of South India, on the banks of the river Tungabhadra, Hampi is spread over an estimated area of 25 square kilometers. True to its name and fame, the monuments and the structures have been enlisted as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. It includes the temples, marketplaces, structures, forts and monuments.
In India, we have more than 20 World Heritage Sites, and these World Heritage Sites are basically the sites which has not only impacted the Indian society but also left the impression into the people of throughout the world. So whenever the people visited this place, they feel that through this particular site they can learn many things, and that is why the UNESCO has selected that these particular sites are not only the important heritage for that particular country, but it is for the world heritage, and that is why they have declared some sites, and in India we have more than 20, in the Hampi is one of that.
Even today, the make of this place gives a challenge to the modern metropolitan setup of present times. The place also has a connection with the Indian epic Ramayana. Mythology has it that the state was ruled by the monkey king Bali and Sugriv. The architectural excellence, the fineness of execution in carving images and making ornamental pillars stand out to remind us of the glorious past.
Hampi, it is like a pearl in India. It is very amazing architecture here, and monuments, and a lot of spiritual.
The complicated projections of the structures is remarkable, so as to portray the intended motive and the design of the various structures. The material utilized was locally available granite, but the mastery of the craftsman and their skill can be judged from the fact that you have stone beams of 14 to 15 feet length, which has been raised to the height of 16 to 17 meters. Most of the work has been done during the reign of the famous emperor Krishnadevaraya.
तुलु डायनेस्टी कृष्णदेवराय राजा वो पॉपुलर किंग है कि वे विजयनगर साम्राज्य डेवलप किया है। दक्षिण भाग कन्याकुमारी से उत्तर भाग उड़ीसा तक दिग्विजय किया है। कहाँ गए तो इसको विजय होता रहता है, तब इसको विजयनगर कर को नाम आता है।
A trip down the history lane would take us even closer to those times. Virupaksha Temple. It is located at the banks of the river Tungabhadra. This temple is dedicated to the Hindu god of destruction, Lord Shiva. Virupaksha Temple is believed to be one of the oldest active temples dating back to 7th century AD. The temple complex consists of the god's sanctum, pillared halls, and a series of giant entrance towers. The main Gopuram, 50-meter high, was built in 1442 AD, and a smaller one was added in 1510 AD. This is one of the fine places to witness the Hindu religious functions in close proximity. This is a place equally sought after by the tourists and the pilgrims. Vithala Temple. This temple complex, dedicated to Vithala, a form of the Hindu god Vishnu, is an architectural highlight of Hampi. This temple campus contains many halls and shrines. The halls are noted for their extraordinary pillars with the animated carvings on it. A set of pillars, known as musical pillars, resonates when tapped. All pillars are surrounded by detached shaft, all cut from one single block of stone. A huge stone chariot, complete with wheels carved out of stone, stands in front of the main temple. The environment of this temple is packed with numerous smaller but ornate temples and a wide chariot street of the temple. The work of this temple was started during the reign of Krishnadevaraya. Hazar Rama Temple. This was a private temple of the king. The temple is special with its exceptionally carved outer walls, an unusual feature in other Vijayanagar temples. The story of Ramayana is impressively carved all around the shrine walls like a comic strip on stone.
It's beautiful and it's so big, so much bigger than I expected. I really, really like it. Not seen anything like it before. Beautiful. The architecture's amazing. I love all the carvings and it sits so nicely in the landscape with the boulders. It's really amazing.
The inner shrine contains 4 polished pillars with detailed carvings of godly themes. The genesis of the place, known as Hampi, dates back to the age of Hindu epic Ramayana, when it was the site of Kishkindha, a monkey kingdom.
It's truly a holy place. No matter what your faith, you will find that it is a very, very inspirational location. I also think that visiting here in the palace has been just wonderful. You can see the exquisite carvings that are produced here, and it's obvious that royalty lived here once. And it's wonderful to see all of the children come from all the schools and learn about the history of India and the history of Hampi.
Krishna Temple. This temple is dedicated to Lord Krishna. In Hindu mythology, Krishna is known for his romantic encounters and political shrewdness. The complex consists of the main shrine, shrine of the goddesses, the chariot or the market street, and the temple tank. The main hall sports a series of pillars carved with mythical creatures. The Zenana enclosure and Lotus Mahal. The walled compound known as Zenana enclosure holds the Lotus Mahal. This ornate structure was probably used by the military chief as his office or the queens of the palace as a pleasure pavilion. The pavilion sports Islamic architecture style arches, whereas the roofs and base are of the typical Hindu temples. Queen's Bath. This structure belongs to the royal area of the capital. Probably used by the courtly ladies or the king himself, this looks like an indoor aquatic complex. A large veranda with protruding balconies all around faces the central pool. The pool is square and 1.8 meters deep. A large veranda with balconies all around faces the central pool. This is one of the typical examples of the Indo-Islamic hybrid architecture.
Every site, if you take it, these sites, although made by either Hindu or the Muslim or other kings, but its impact on the construction is totally the reflection of the social structure at that time. And the social structure always includes every religions in India after the 7th, 8th century onwards. So even at this site, when if you talk of the Indian history of the 13th and 14th century, when after the 11th century this invasion started, so it must have been reflected into the construction of this site also.
Lakshmi Narasimha. This monolithic statue of the man-lion god is the largest icon in Hampi, known as Narasimha, which is depicted in a cross-legged seated position. It's believed that the original image contained his consort Lakshmi sitting on his lap. This image was destroyed during the enemy invasion. Currently, only a hand of the goddess resting on his waist can be seen. Kadalekalu Ganesha. This is a giant statue of Lord Ganesha. This 4.6 meters tall sculpture is carved in situ on the slopes of the Hemukutta hill. The tall, slender granite pillars with many mythological themes carved decorates the front hall of this shrine. Kadalekalu means gram seed in local language. The shape of this statue was the reason for this witty name for a god statue. Sasivekalu Ganesha. This again is a giant statue of Ganesha located inside an open pavilion. The potbelly of the god is in the shape of mustard seed and hence the name Sasivekalu, meaning mustard seed in the local language. Anegundi. Towards the north of the river is ruined fortified stronghold of Anegundi, an older structure than those at Hampi. A charming village is within it. The defensive wall is still intact. Hemukutta Hill Temple. This is a hill which collectively consists of temples. A large number of pre-Vijayanagar temples are located on this hilltop. The main attraction is a structure of the sets of triple-chambered temples with its pyramid-like granite roofs. This is an important mythological site in the local folklore that explains the density of such temples on this hill. And so, the temples are named after the name of the hill. Royal Enclosure. The seat of the erstwhile kings, this is a fortified campus. Royal Enclosure is a sprawling area with the ruins of many stately structures. For example, the Mahanavami platform from where the king used to watch the annual parade of imperial majesty and military might. Pushkarni. This stepped well, Pushkarni, is known for Queen's Bath. The elegant design of this well was created to provide relief from daytime's heat. It is believed that this well was covered when the city was occupied. Riverside Trek Path. This is the path that connects the ancient Hampi Bazaar to the Vithala temple. This consists of 1008 Shiva Lingas carved in a matrix-like pattern on a sheet of boulder at the river shore. The Linga Shrine. The Linga Shrine of God Shiva is 10 feet tall that stands partly under water. This beautiful structure was unbelievably used to shelter the royal elephants. It is a series of chambers with dome-like roofs.
There are many attempts which have been made to understand this particular site through the multidisciplinary perspective. This includes the acoustic pillars of the site. This includes the architectural design of the monuments and the temples within the complex. Also the plan of the whole site itself. So there are the different attempts, many attempts has been made to understand this site, but a study which includes not only the site development but also the music and dance associated with the site has never been touched. Also the relationship with the site, with the textual traditions of India, whether it is the different Sanskrit and manuscript text, has not been related. So that is still pending, but still the site is very, very important from the archaeological point of view, from the architecture point of view, from the iconography point of view, and the music and dance point of view.
Hampi temples and monuments have weathered many tests of time. Standing tall, these epitomes of history say more than 1 million words merely at the first sight. To behold them in the full grandeur, to understand what they stand for, what they say, a communion with them is all what it takes.
This huge, massive architecture is really incredible. It's really impressive, and it makes you, it gives you an idea how big and powerful this empire was. And on the other hand, the fact that this empire faded away and that only ruins remain makes you think about durability of civilization.
It's better to promote Hampi for the betterment of our own culture, to preserve our culture and show that our culture at that time was also very rich.
I hope that you can take care of the place because it's very beautiful, and I hope maybe my children in the future can see it too. Yeah. So take care of your beautiful heritage.
That was Hampi, the most powerful Hindu kingdom in Deccan between 14th and 16th century. Travelers such as Domingo Pace, who stayed for 2 years after 1520, were astonished by its size and wealth, telling tales of market full of silk and precious gems, beautiful courtesans, ornate temples and joyous festivities. The place was visited by scholars and travelers, Italian, Persian, Portuguese, and many of them recorded their observations in their travelogues. The silent stones speak of a riverine culture and greatness of a bygone era. It is an example of history rebuilt by architecture. It is a tale of not only splendor and wealth, but of great achievements in the field of art and aesthetics, sculpture and architecture. Here, history is full of mythology, faith and rituals. Rightly said, if dreams were made out of stone, it would be Hampi.